know life can be busy. Maybe you have school, work, or 100 little things to do. But right now, you've made time to listen. And that means you're serious about improving your English. That's something to be proud of. My name is Sarah. I'm here to share stories in simple English, so you can listen, repeat, and grow confident in speaking. Today's story is about a young woman whose courage and intelligence made her unforgettable, Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt. This is for your listening and shadowing practice, so try to repeat after me when you can. Welcome to Fluent English Every Day. Cleopatra was born in a grand palace in Egypt. She was a princess, the daughter of the king. People often think a princess lives a perfect life. To be honest, it wasn't true for her. Life in the palace was full of rules. Cleopatra had to dress a certain way, speak a certain way, and always act calm, even when she felt afraid or sad. Behind the walls of gold and marble, there were secrets, plans, and people who wanted power for themselves. When Cleopatra was 18, her father called her to the great hall. His face looked tired. "Cleopatra," he said, "I must leave Egypt for some time. You and your brother will rule together until I return." She nodded, trying to be brave. At first, she worked hard to lead the people. She visited markets, listened to farmers, and made sure food was shared fairly. But her younger brother's advisors didn't like it. They thought a woman should not speak for Egypt. They whispered in her brother's ear, telling him that Cleopatra was dangerous. And one night, out of nowhere, soldiers entered her room. "You must leave the palace," they said. Her brother had taken the throne alone. Cleopatra had no choice. She put on a simple cloak, covered her head, and walked out into the desert night. The sand was cold under her feet, but the sun would soon rise, and the heat would be fierce. She walked for hours, thinking about Egypt. She didn't hate her brother, but she knew her people needed her. In a small village by the river, she stopped to rest. An old woman brought her a cup of water and looked into her eyes. "You have the eyes of a queen," the woman said softly. "Don't forget who you are." Cleopatra smiled, though her heart was heavy. She knew she could not stay hidden forever. She had to return. She had to take back what was hers. She didn't know the dangers that were waiting for her, but one thing was certain: she would not give up. The night air in the desert was cold. Cleopatra sat near a small fire, wrapping her cloak tightly around her shoulders. She could hear the quiet sound of the Nile in the distance. The water was like a whisper, reminding her of home. She missed the palace, but more than that, she missed her people. Days turned into weeks. Cleopatra stayed in small villages, listening to the news. Merchants told her that her brother was now the only ruler. They said the palace was full of rich banquets. But outside the walls, people were hungry. Prices for bread and grain were rising. Cleopatra's heart ached. "I cannot just stay here," she thought. "Egypt needs me." But she also knew she could not return alone. She needed help, strong help. One afternoon, while she was at the river, she heard men speaking in a language she didn't know well. They were Roman soldiers. Egypt had trade with Rome, and Cleopatra remembered her father once saying that Rome was the most powerful force in the world. To be honest, the idea scared her. Rome was strong, but also dangerous. Yet something inside her told her that maybe, just maybe, Rome could help her win back her throne. She found a trusted friend, a man named Ammon, who had once served in the palace guard. He had left after her brother's advisors gained power. Ammon still believed in her. "If you wish to speak with Rome, you must speak with their general," he said. Cleopatra hesitated. "And where is this general?" In Alexandria, Amen replied, but the palace is guarded. You cannot walk through the gates. You will need a plan. That night, they talked for hours under the moonlight. Finally, Amen smiled. We will send you into the palace, hidden inside a carpet. It sounded impossible, but Cleopatra agreed. The next morning, they found a large, rolled carpet that was being sent as a gift to the Roman general, Julius Caesar, who was visiting the palace. With the help of loyal servants, Cleopatra climbed inside. The air was hot and heavy. She had to keep completely still. The journey to the palace felt endless. She could hear footsteps, voices, and the sound of gates opening. Her heart was beating so fast she thought someone might hear it. Finally, the carpet stopped. She heard a man's voice, deep and strong, speaking in Latin. Then the rope around the carpet loosened, and light filled her eyes. Cleopatra stepped out slowly, standing tall despite the long, cramped ride. She looked at the man before her. He was older than she expected, with sharp eyes that studied her carefully. I am Cleopatra, rightful queen of Egypt. Her voice did not shake, and I need your help. The room was silent for a moment. Then Julius Caesar smiled. Cleopatra did not know if this Roman general would become her greatest ally or her most dangerous enemy. But she had taken the first step toward her throne, and there was no turning back. Caesar's eyes stayed on Cleopatra for a long moment. Then he spoke quietly. You are brave to come here like this, he said. But why should Rome help you? Cleopatra took a deep breath. Because Egypt is my home. My brother has taken the throne, but he cannot lead the people. They are suffering. If you help me, Egypt will be strong, and a strong Egypt is good for Rome. For a moment, then he nodded slowly. Very well. I will help you, but it will be dangerous. From that day, everything moved quickly. Caesar sent messages to the palace, demanding that Cleopatra and her brother meet to discuss peace. Her brother's advisors refused at first, but Rome's power was too great to ignore. Soon, Cleopatra found herself standing in the grand hall again, the same hall she had left in the night months ago. Her brother sat on the throne, looking smaller than she remembered. Around him stood the advisors who had forced her out. She felt anger rising inside her, but she kept her voice calm. My brother, she said, we should rule together, as father wished. Our people need both of us. The advisors whispered quickly, trying to turn her brother against her. But Caesar's soldiers stood in the hall, watching. They would not let harm come to her. Finally, her brother agreed, but only because he had no choice. Cleopatra was named Queen of Egypt once more. The people celebrated in the streets, throwing flowers and singing. For the first time in many months. But her journey was not over. She worked day and night to bring food to the poor, repair the markets, and listen to the needs of her people. To be honest, it was harder than she had imagined. But she kept going because she loved her country. One evening, Cleopatra stood by the river Nile, watching the sun set in gold and red. She remembered the night she had left the palace in silence. She remembered the old woman in the village who had said, "You have the eyes of a queen." Now, she understood what those words meant. Being a queen was not just about wearing a crown. It was about serving others, even when it was difficult. It was about standing up when you wanted to sit down. And in that moment, Cleopatra promised herself she would never let fear push her away again. And you, my friend, remember this. You are stronger than you think. Just like Cleopatra, you can face challenges and still stand tall. Every step you take in learning English is a victory. Thank you for listening to this story with me today. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to Fluent English every day. Keep practicing every day, and soon, speaking English will feel as natural as breathing. I'm proud of you. Keep going, your crown is waiting.